the most crucial skills that we require today in this 21st century era? And why is it that without soft skills, our students who will be joining the world of work very soon will find it very difficult, especially in today's fourth industrial revolution, which is dominated by AI and automation. So let's go back in time about how far back can you trace the term soft skills? And it takes us back to the Vietnam War in 1968, where the US military realized that there are these certain set of skills other than technical skills that are very crucial for the soldiers to come out victorious. So, this is the time when two terminologies were coined, so to speak. One is hard skills, which are the technical skills, which we all know about. The technical skills is about learning how to use the gun, the heavy machineries, right? Those are all technical skills. But then, to be able to lead, to be able to have that intuitive power to take right decisions at the most challenging times, those are something which machines and AI cannot replicate. And that is what makes us humans, right? So, this is a time when there was importance given to soft skills, and there was money spent on soft skills to be further understood, right? So, now, I'm sure you've heard of the term EQ and IQ, right? Not long before, IQ was always given precedence, importance, but EQ now has become extremely important, and everybody is beginning to incorporate EQ in their everyday work and life. So when can we trace back in time, if we go back, who was the first person to have suggested or identified the importance of EQ, which is emotional quotient, versus intelligence quotient, right? So it was the a Romanian-American psychologist called David Weschler, who was the first one to have identified that for a person to be deemed intelligent, you cannot only look at the IQ. It is crucial that you also look at the EQ part of the person. So what is emotional intelligence? And today I want to mention that though soft skills, there are a lot of people who have talked about soft skills, my intention today is to simplify the term. If you understand just the basics, I will consider my job done. I think that is the first foundation that we need to set, and then we will be able to learn the advanced level, right? So, what is emotional intelligence? To simply define it, emotional intelligence is the ability to manage interactions, right? Everyday life, we interact, correct? So, how to manage those interactions in our everyday personal and professional life? To improve relationships. To improve relationships, to build trust, and create a teamwork culture. We are social animals. We have evolved as a people. And having the ability, giving importance to emotional intelligence, need to start at the school level, need to start as adults, as teachers, so we are able to impart that knowledge to our students. So quickly I want to mention that soft skills AHA, we have programs The idea being that we want to integrate soft skills into the school curriculum, because it is no longer enough for the students to get just the certificate, which is a proof of technical skills or hard skills. Education is incomplete without soft skills. You need both EQ and IQ. So coming back to emotional intelligence, a person with the combination of hard skills and soft skills has proven to be a successful leader. So, soft skills, most of you have not heard about the term soft skills, but it's also known as core skills, people skills, essential skills, 21st century skills, interpersonal skills, fundamental skills, and life skills. These are so important. So, let me elucidate this further by just giving you a simple example. You see over here, we often use the term, oh, I went to the doctor, versus my doctor gave me this prescription. What is the difference? The doctor versus my doctor. Why? How was that doctor able to earn that title of my doctor? That needs to be earned, isn't it? Am I hearing some responses? Please feel free to speak. Any? Okay. So, the doctor, any doctor will diagnose what's happening with you, give you medicine, and send you home. That becomes the doctor. But when it comes to my doctor, that doctor is able to use soft skills. So what's the difference? The doctor is good at technical skills, but to become my doctor, you need to have soft skills. So people skills, how do you connect? How do you connect with your patient? How do you genuinely care about your patient? And then research has shown that the more there is trust built up, what happens is the patient heals faster. I'm sure you all know about this, right? So that is emotions, that is trust, that's human. So there are many teachers over here. The teacher versus my teacher. I'm sure and I'm hoping that all of you want to be called as. Thank you so much. So how to be that? What distinguishes you? What sets you apart from the teacher to my teacher? And that is soft skills or hard skills? Thank you very much. So let me tell you what are the top 10 soft skills that are crucial in today's day and age. These are the top 10 essential soft skills required to thrive in your personal and professional life both. Right? So, first and foremost is attitude. Attitude always should be and always has been the topmost soft skill. Then comes character. Then diversity and cultural awareness. Then comes communication, and not just communication, listening skills. Sadly, there are a lot of people who love to communicate but hate to listen. And in the boardroom scenarios, in the world of work, in my career alone, I've seen how people just talk. But to be able to be a good communicator, you need to first learn how to listen. Right. Then, appearance and etiquette, that matters. And now, etiquette has transcended to netiquette. We all have to, just the way you need to have a proper etiquette in the physical world, it has now become imperative that you pay attention to the virtual world, and that is netiquette. Then comes time management. Very crucial. We all know that we all have to be on time. We teach our students that. skills, and there are those who are not. But that isn't it. These are all skills that can be taught, that can be learned, and that needs to be mastered in your everyday life. Then comes teamwork, very crucial. Critical thinking and problem solving, very crucial. Service excellence. Look around you. Whatever we are doing as a teacher, as a shopkeeper, as any other profession you think, don't you think there is some amount of service associated with it? And now, more than ever, it's not just enough to have product, you need to have good service as well, right? It's about connecting. And then finally, the amalgamation of all of this is leadership. So you cannot be a good leader if you have any one of this missing, right? So, today, I have selected these 6 soft skills that I want to talk about and try and crunch in as much information as possible in this limited time that I have. But today, if you leave this hall with a basic understanding of these soft skills, I will be more than happy. So let's dive right in, and I also want to let you know that after three soft skills, we may go in for a short 10-minute break, and then we can come back. That we will see as we go. So let's dive right in. The first soft skill is attitude. What is attitude? We hear it often, right? To the point we take it for granted. But what is attitude? Attitude is nothing but your perspective towards life. Think about it. So, drishti versus drishtikon. What perspective, what is your outlook towards life? Is it a positive one? Or is it a negative one? We notice that a lot of people, you can think, if I just tell you, okay, think about somebody in your mind who is always brimming with energy, who has a positive attitude. You'll probably be able to think of few. The moment I tell you, think of somebody who has a negative attitude, perhaps you will think of more people. But how to have a positive attitude becomes the most important question that we need to ask, right? In Hinduism, when we do our rituals, you know how we put the tika first on Lord Ganesha, right? Why? Why do we do that? Lord Ganesha is known for auspiciousness. And to be auspicious, can you be auspicious with a negative attitude or you need a positive attitude? Positive. So, that is why attitude is also our first soft skill. So, how to distinguish between those who have negative attitudes and positive attitudes? Let's say we ourselves find ourselves guilty of having negative attitudes sometimes, right? How to correct that? Those people who have negative attitude are the ones who are busy reacting to consequences, reacting to people in their life. Think about it. Somebody shouts at the person shouts back. Reaction. But if you are able to raise your standards and try and become the highest version of yourself, even if somebody shouts at you, if you are able to maintain your balance, your calm, and your composure, and be able to act with wisdom, that is what distinguishes a negative person from a positive person. Do you agree with this? Reaction versus action. So why am I sharing this with you? So that next time when you are Do you agree that every day when we wake up to the time we sleep, there is a certain transaction of energy happening all the time? Just the way we charge our phones comes to being 100% charge. After you sleep, you wake up, you are expected to have that full energy, right? But you go through the day, and towards the end of the day, you feel tired, you want to rest, energy depletion. But what happens when you decide, because it's a choice, remember, how you choose to live your life is your choice. You cannot blame any circumstances or anybody. Because remember, if you want to become a higher version of yourself, it becomes imperative that you ask yourself, fine, this happened, but what did I do about it? Action versus reaction, right? So, when a person is negative, what happens with energy? Think about it. Those people who have negative energy, negative attitude, are usually the ones who are functioning with a depleted energy. Agreed? They are low, they're dim, they're always complaining, nothing seems to be going right in their life. Every time they just... And what happens in effect is, people don't want to be around such a person, because you probably start your day with, you're brimming with energy, you're upbeat, and then you come across a negative person, and you find your energy being pulled away. It's being snatched away. Have you all felt that somewhere? Please raise your hand. Have you felt that? Right? Exactly. So, what happens? Why is that happening? When a person has negative attitude, or chooses to have negative attitude, because the person is functioning from a low energy, the person is always trying to give or snatch energy. Snatch. Why? Because the person is depleted with energy. But those who have positive attitude, what happens? You always have an abundance of energy, correct? You don't allow life's consequences or challenges to push you around, right? You are able to maintain your calm and act in the manner that is not just good for you, but those around you. That is wisdom. Now, I would like to elucidate this soft skill attitude with this story of a monk and the scorpion. How many of you know about this story? The monk and scorpion? Okay, good. Alright. So you're hearing it for the first time, great. Alright, so in this story what happened was that a monk was walking. So the monk was walking by the stream and notices a scorpion struggling in the water. So the monk realizes that the scorpion can't swim. So the monk goes in immediately and tries to lift the scorpion out of the water into the land. But when the monk holds the scorpion, what happens? The scorpion stings the hand, right? So with that shock, the monk leaves the scorpion again, and then the scorpion is back into the water. So the monk tries to do that repeatedly until he's able to save the scorpion. Now, there was this little boy who was playing around and notices this whole ordeal. And the boy comes towards the monk and says, "Why did you have to save it? It was stinging you. You had to not once, so many times." And that's when the monk said the most beautiful words. The monk said, "Just as it is in the nature of the water to make you wet, it is in the nature of the scorpion to sting. And just as it is in the nature of scorpion to sting, it is in my nature to sing. Now, please remember, whenever life pushes you around, there are challenges, we all go through challenges, right? Those challenges, how you choose to behave, remind yourself of this mantra each time to gain that inspiration and act wisely. If we are busy reacting, then we will not be able to create this beautiful world for our students and our children, right? So with this beautiful story, I would like to move on to our next soft skill, very important, time management. So, time is the most powerful element because nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. Time is so powerful. One day you're up, and the other day you're down. You don't know. But what I can tell you is that you can control time. You have the power to manage time so that you are able to manage yourself. And that is by striving to become the master of your minutes. Right? Now, everybody will say, be on time, you have to respect time. Everybody's just saying all of that, right? But what I believe in is internal motivation. The moment you correct yourself in terms of internal motivation, by default, you become a great time manager. Right? You don't have to, it's effortless for you. It's part of your nature. So, what are the questions, the profound questions that you need to ask yourself? If I ask you, please answer yes or no in your mind. These questions, please answer. Are you dependable in your mind? Are you dependable? Are you reliable? Are you punctual? Are you honest? And most importantly, can people count on you? Now, for those of you who answered yes like that, I am assuming that you are good with your time management. Who said yes, yes, yes? That's the internal motivation. You don't need anyone to tell you or discipline you because you already have those high standards. Why? Because you want people to count on you. You want to be a reliable person, and that is how trust is built. But if you answered no, but I want to make the shift, then please listen to this. Whatever I will be giving you the tips after, right? So that is great. It's never too late to make the shift. Never too late to ask such profound questions to yourself. Because remember, once you start being your own best friend, and once you start being your own best critic, I won't say worst critic, best critic, right? That is when you will find yourself asking these profound questions, and you should be able to answer them, and nobody else should be telling you do this or do that, right? As adults, this is the least we can do. Now, what are the 5 tips? There are many, but just 5 takeaways, right? To help you become a good time manager, right? Something that you can do right away from today. Very important to understand. Turn being busy into being productive. Now, in my career, I have noticed, and I come from the corporate background and marketing and media and all that, and I have noticed more than 5 o'clock, that means you're great. No. What I'm talking about is about that attitude, right? So, what is the difference being busy and productive? As you can see over here, busy means you're just doing. You've been asked to do a certain task, you're just doing, and then once that's done, right? Then you're thinking, okay, what to have for lunch, or what to do later, So just being busy versus being productive. What is the difference? You are trying to achieve. Now let me explain this further with Mr. Henry Ford as the example. So who was Henry Ford? He was the founder of the Ford Motor Company, and he was also the chief developer of the assembly line technique for mass production. Now, busy people are just making cars in this context, right? Just making cars. What are productive people doing? They are thinking or working towards building a better system in making cars. Now, what's the difference? When you're just busy doing, you're only thinking of yourself, isn't it? Alright, I'm doing my work, I'm making a paycheck, but you're productive. Then what happens is that's when you start going away from the crowd to being somebody who is a visionary, who is an inspiration, who does not rest until he or she is able to contribute in a much larger platform and help others as well. Right? So tip 1 is, please don't be busy. Always ask yourself, am I being productive? Catch yourself again. Catch yourself. If you're mindlessly working, catch yourself. And ask yourself these larger questions, visionary questions. Tip 2, be accountable for yourself. Do the right thing even when no one is looking. Be accountable. You are special. You don't realize the capabilities that you have as you. Because remember, on this planet, I cannot find another you. You are you. And it's time that you become accountable for yourself to set higher standards and do the right thing even when no one is looking. And that is a sign, again, of a true leader. That person does not need to be, pushed or motivated by anybody else. You have your own values, samskar. For me, these are samskars, value system. Right? You need to set those standards. Tip 3, take initiative. Dalai Lama once said, for change to happen in any community, the initiative must come from the individual. There are a lot of people I notice are there, present. They don't realize how they can contribute, how much they can contribute, and they're not taking initiative. Right? Try. Start with small steps. It's crucial that you keep taking small steps. Don't wait for those big steps and jumps. Right? Start taking those small steps from small initiative to big initiative. From in the physical world or in the virtual world, the internet world, whatever. Take initiative and do something that you're passionate about. Contribute. Right? So time management, why is this in time management? Because if you are able to manage from tomorrow I will start running and eating healthy or whatever, start. Do it or don't say it. But when you say it, mean it. Because that shows that you value your own words, or your own thoughts. If you don't value your own thoughts, it will be kind of difficult for others to take you seriously, isn't it? Right? So start taking yourself seriously first. Value your own words, and by default, you will find yourself not making any excuses. Again, high standards, remember. And be the best version of yourself. You may think you're this, but what if you're this? Not what if. All of us are this, can become this. And that only happens if you work, master your soft skills, be the best friend, keep talking to yourself and your conscience, and strive to become the best version of yourself. Right? And then, tip 5. Be functional, be punctual. Now, you see 50, 30, 20. What is that? Right? So, if you want to be in the 50%, right, of the general population, if you want to be in that 50%, all you have to do is show up. Whether on time or not, just show up. Right? That's the maximum 50% of people. What do? They just show up. A traffic boy, you and this, that, and the other students, right? 50%, fine. If you are okay with that standard, you will be in that 50%. Now, if you want to be that 30%, what do you think you must do? You show up on time. 10 o'clock means 10 o'clock. Or, in my case, it's always 15 minutes before. Not the Nepali time, it's the reverse Nepali time for me. So, show up on time. The moment you decide that, no, I will stick to that standard so that everybody will know that this person always comes on time, and that inspires others to also be on time because that person will come on time. Right? So you're already helping in things to get better. So 30% is show up on time. Now, 20%. What is that? How to be in that 20%? The difference is that you show up on time, ready to work. Very important. Again, I'm going back to my example of the corporate world. There are people who come on time because they need to punch the clock. Right? They punch the clock, and then I notice that for 1 hour, they've made their coffee, they're chatting about what happened the night before, and the evening, and blah, 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 blah. And after 1 hour, they're like, okay, I'm on. So, it's over. We go sit, and then somehow, then lunchtime happens again, right? So, what am I trying to mention over here? To set high standards means that nobody needs to tell you that the work time is work time. If you're getting paid, respect that. There are a lot of people who don't even have jobs, especially during the COVID time. I'm sure you all know. Remind yourself of these basic but crucial things, that you not only have a job, but you have a job that can make a difference in people's lives. So every morning, if you start with those thoughts, you will naturally be striving to be in that 20% where you are mentally, physically, and spiritually ready to work. Right? So, now, the next soft skill. So first was attitude. Second, time management. Teamwork. So, teamwork has always been right? For everybody, because we're all humans, we all come from different backgrounds and different thought patterns. So, why don't we see the image of geese over here? What can we learn from the geese? Right? So, did you know that that when the geese fly together in a group, in a V formation, right? They are able to fly 71% higher in a higher range when they fly in a V formation in a group, right? So remember that life is not a solo act. We all need each other, right? So what also happens with geese is that when the lead goose gets tired, the goose comes back and another goose takes the lead position, right? It's also been noticed that the geese honk if there is the speed, because remember, in teamwork, momentum, to maintain the momentum is very crucial. If one person also slows down, it affects everybody, correct? So geese are found to honk at each other. As humans, we just need to make sure that we are honking in an encouraging way, not shouting, right? And another interesting fact about geese is that when, let's say one flying, a goose feels ill or sick, the goose flies down, and the moment that is noticed, two other geese fly down with that goose to be there to protect that goose. Right? So, what can we learn? The teamwork is not only when things are all fine and dandy. What you do when things go rough or when somebody is affected, that is also part of teamwork. So what happens when those geese fly down? If they can recuperate, they will try and join the same group, or they will wait for another group and they will fly with them. So that's why the power of pulling together is very important, right? So that's why I love this line. It says, I can do things you cannot. You can do things I cannot. Together we can do great things. And that is beautiful. Right? So if we start our day, if we remind ourselves of these few important points, it just becomes so much more exciting. Life just starts becoming so much exciting for everybody. Right? So, what are the 10 characteristics of a productive team member? As you can see here, to become a productive team member, you have to have these 10 characteristics. Even if one is missing, it affects you, right? Just so you know. Of course, you need to be reliable, count on you, and people count on you. You need to be an effective communicator. You may have great ideas in your mind, but if you're unable to express it to your team members, how can they understand you? So, I believe no one in this hall will believe that I'm an introvert. I prefer my quiet time, right? No one believes that. Everyone thinks I'm an extrovert. But why am I saying that? Because you may be an introvert, but that doesn't mean that you just keep quiet. Introverts are known to talk about something for hours on end if they're passionate about that topic. So here I am, talking to you about soft skills, right? So, be an effective communicator. Be an active listener. Remember the energy transaction? So when you listen to someone, like when you are talking, you want to be listened to, correct? You don't like inattentiveness. So if you don't like inattentiveness, do you think others will like it too? No. Right? So basic respect. talking, listen, pay attention, right? And try and build on that. Because remember, the best team is the team which has the most diversity. Whether that is in terms of gender, whether that's in terms of ethnicity, whether that's in terms of age, right? That is where we're able to pull together and create something much greater than just me alone, right? So that's why they say that there is no I in the team. Next, participate and contribute. Again, there are times I've noticed that there are people who are in the team, but who are just sitting, not participating, not contributing. The team meeting is finished, so they just get up and go. In that way, what happens is it affects the team, but the person actually had the opportunity to discover so much more about himself or herself. But the person chose to be quiet, not participate, not contribute, and that actually affected whom? It affected the individual, isn't it? Because work allows us to discover so much about ourselves. Did you know that you were able to contribute so far? You have contributed to the school in so many ways, correct? When you started off, did you know you could do that? Every single day, when you were presented with a problem or whatever, you were presented with something, you were able to participate, contribute. And that's how you grow, right? Shares openly. Remember, in a team, it's one thing to share openly, it's another to just keep complaining. But shares openly meaning where you are honest with what you say, what you feel, right? And that's how everybody is able to be on the same page. Cooperates. You have to be cooperative, you have to be flexible. Flexibility is what? Flexibility is when you're able to accept others for who they are. So, you try to find a mid-path, so to speak, right? And then you have to be committed, problem solver. Again, it's very easy to complain, but to solve, that is another thing altogether, right? It requires the eagerness, the enthusiasm to be solution-based versus problem-based, right? And finally, be respectful. Please respect one another, right? This is something, of course, you teach your students. I know, as educators, you already know a lot of these characteristics, but sometimes a reminder is always good, right? And then, finally, teamwork tip. Now, conflict management or conflict resolution is something which is very advanced, but if I have to, in this short period of time, just have to give you a basic tip about managing team conflict, because definitely there will be some form of conflict when we are all working together. One believes in X, another believes in Y, and then what do you do afterwards, right? So, basic 4 steps to resolution, right, for conflict management is to identify what the conflict is first. There are a lot of things that will be put on the table. Conflict can appear pretty complicated too. So do you have the ability to identify what is the crux of the problem? What is this problem? So that requires the ability to identify what is the conflict, share and listen. Create an environment where everybody is able to share about what they feel, about the conflict, and then listen. Next step is brainstorming. This is where new ideas are born. Right? When you brainstorm, this is when new ideas are born, and finally, resolution happens. So, do you think conflict is a bad thing? Or actually, do you think it is a good thing? Because you know what? It's been noticed and observed that when a conflict is managed, the team ends up bonding with each other even more. team to grow together, right? So teamwork is not your way or my way. It is about identifying the better way, right? And that is how we as humans have continuously evolved, because teamwork is just a fancy word for a social, us being social animals, right? We're just in institutions, we have built these modern institutions, but the intrinsic social animal values are the same, right? So, alright, so before I move into the fourth soft skills, should we take a break for 10 minutes? Yeah? Should we take a break? Sure. Alright. So, after you come back, I will be talking about another 3 soft skills. I hope you're enjoying and it's thought-provoking. Great. And then, so we'll talk about the other 3 soft skills, and that's it. Right?
Can you all smile? Can you all smile for me, please? See? Thank you.
appearance, dress, of course, dress for success. Now, remember that everything, if it is done in balance, right? Nature works in balance. So anything off balance is not right. So similarly, as far as dress for success is concerned, I'm not telling you go out there, buy, and have all these expensive clothes, that's being a little too narcissistic. But what I'm telling you is dress for success. How to know how to dress in different functions, right? We kind of have a basic understanding, but the only question you need to ask yourself is, how do you want to be perceived? Because how you dress elicits a response from the other person who sees you, right? The other thing is, ask yourself, who is your audience for that particular function? Is it your colleagues? Is it strangers? Is it friends? Are you going out for a nice time with your friends? So, do you think you should dress formal or do you think you should dress casual? Right? It's about unwinding. So, just ask yourself, these two questions. Who is your audience and how do you want to be perceived? That will invariably give you, put you in the right track as far as dressing is concerned. But remember that smile, alright? But I'm not telling you to smile continuously because then you will look a little funny. But then smile whenever possible, okay? Keep it clean. We teach our students this. I don't need to tell the educators in this room. Keep it clean. Hygiene is in our control, so we must pay attention. And finally, polish your lace. Now, why am I talking about lace? So, remember that our office space, right? Our office space is an extension of us, isn't it? So you visit somebody's office, you can again get a basic understanding about that person, right? So, polish your place, meaning that keep your workspace or, even at home, wherever, like, your place always be clean, right? And remember, this is in a physical world. In the virtual world, in the internet, social media platforms are today's virtual place. Is it or is it not? Right? So for example, if on your table, right, in the physical space, if on your table, would you allow other people to put whatever they want on your table? No, right? What you want has to be on the table, correct? But why do we allow this to happen on our Facebook pages? That anyone can share whatever they want and they'll tag you and it appears on your wall. You will say, I didn't even know it was there, correct? But now, you cannot not pay attention to that wall. So please today, go to your settings on Facebook and put that thing off where anybody can share whatever they want on your wall. It's like putting everything on your table, right? So social media platforms need also to be taken seriously. Because there are a lot of us who say, I don't use social media too much. Fine, don't use it. It's like a table that you're not using. But that doesn't mean that the table will start accumulating dust and all sorts of things, right? So even if you're not active, pay attention, be conscious about how you want. If anybody wants to just learn about it, let's say you're applying for a new job or something, what's happening is the employers are checking the social media pages to get an understanding. So if you are allowing people to post whatever they want, that also says something about you, yes or no? Right? So pay attention to your place, both physical and virtual. We are, isn't it? Right? Close your mouth while you're chewing. Don't make too much noise, table manners, right? Sit straight, all of that. Speak, be nice to people. But what is that one thumb rule that you can, always remind yourself about to have good etiquette? And that is treat others you. So, if it is annoying for if there's this person who's treating you out right? It's annoying, right? So, not just that, so many social situations, you just ask yourself, would I like this? If no, then might as well not do it, right? But simple. Remember I told you today's session is about just going into the simple points, right? The foundation of these soft skills. And etiquette starts with good manners. We teach our students good manners, but do we remind ourselves about good manners? And good manners never go out of fashion. Good manners, good etiquette is what makes us civilized, wise, and helps us to evolve, right? Gratitude starts with gratitude, good manners. So always be grateful. When somebody gives you something, even as it is as small as a pen, you thank you with a genuine smile, right? Remind yourself also about how fortunate you are. That is also being grateful towards life. I'm not just talking about people to people. Remind yourself that you are right now healthy, alive, your loved ones are healthy, doing well. These are things that we more often than not take for granted. But if you start just reminding yourself to be grateful for everything around you, then you become a more gracious person yourself, right? More humble person yourself. Apologize. Most of the time we think that apologizing is a sign of weakness. No! The more humble you are, the more stronger you are. So next time, from the smallest to the biggest, apologize. Because we all are humans, we all make mistakes. And that is a sign of being human. But when you apologize, think about it. What happens? When you apologize, do you think you will end up making more mistakes, or do you think you'll be more cautious about not making mistakes? Right. So what happens then? You are apologizing, the other person says no worries, but just by the act of apologizing, you will diminish your mistakes, because nobody actually likes to be saying sorry, excuse me, right? You want to, so that is when, again, it's better for you. Next, wait for your turn. Again, I'm talking to educators here, but then still, please get this as a reminder, we all need it, right? Wait for your turn. Oftentimes what happens is, even during Zoom meetings and stuff, so when somebody is talking, you want to say something, so you stop. Remember I told you about that happens because you're not listening, right? Because you're not listening, you're just thinking about what to say next. That is what happens in social situations. Think about it. Please catch yourself and stop yourself from, so what's the next point? Okay, this person said this, so I have to say this. And then what happens is everything just becomes more plastic, right? For the lack of a better word. Superficial versus genuine, right? And we need to function in high standards because our children, our students are watching us. They will be imitating us. So therefore, as educators, all the more we can progress. It's a continuous process. That's so beautiful, isn't it? Because you will become the highest version of yourself. Right? Ask for permission. So I person, isn't it? And you're wary that the moment you look away, you don't appear frustrated. Right? Why? Because eyes don't lie. Right? So the more eye contact you make, the more confident you appear, more truthful you appear, and not just appear, you feel that. Right? So, very important in terms of etiquette, don't not make eye contact. Okay? Greetings, I don't need to tell you, again, we're educators. Hello, namaste, always has to be there. Table manners. Now, now there are tons of videos, tons of, you just type table manners and you can learn, right? I've noticed that those who are in the professional world say, well, I don't know how to use chopsticks. But learn. Because just the way you don't, can Nepali food be had with chopsticks? Oh, we need our fingers, right? Similarly, in the Japanese culture, in the Korean culture, what is it? They believe that chopsticks need to be used for their food, right? So, why don't we, now, the world's library is on the internet, but sadly, a lot of people are using it for all sorts of distractions. Learn. Table manners, if you don't know how to use chopsticks, learn. Value others' culture. If we want others to value our culture, our food, why is it the same with food? So when we go to a Japanese restaurant, I find somebody holding it with the hand. That is disrespectful in their culture. Stabbing the food with chopsticks is disrespectful. But are we educating ourselves for table manners? No. Spoon and fork, just knowing how to use spoon and fork is not enough. What? There is a certain etiquette that is followed. Learn. So that next time when you feel more confident to be, because you already know, right? So you're not cautious of self, you don't have the lack of confidence. It is genuine. Out of respect, you have learned, and you will continue to respect, right? So please, next time, I will ask you, what will you know how to use chopsticks? And the answer should be yes. Okay? Respect. Again, if you want to respect, others will want to respect you. Sadly, a lot of people I've noticed feel that they're entitled for respect. Remember, nobody is entitled for anything. We all come on this planet, we're all born, and we all have to earn respect. Right? And similarly, so the respect is what makes actually the world go round. Right? Okay. How many of us are guilty of not decreasing or putting our phone on a silent mode when we are in a team meeting or an event? Raise your hand, please. None of you? Aren't you guilty of not putting your phone on silent mode? Please, because see, honestly, remember, this is how good behavior starts. First, accept your mistakes, then you can work on it. Correct? Thank you so much. So, please come along. Now, there are these questions that we have in mind. Now, what if there are some urgent calls that we have? Right? I don't need clients. Wait. First and foremost, okay, fine, leave it on vibration mode. But don't immediately pull out your phone. The moment it rings, wait for the person. If the person is talking, wait for the person. No? Finish. Because remember, when one is talking, what happens is it's a stream of consciousness, correct? It's a stream of thoughts, correct? The moment you interrupt that, that affects the conversation, the meaningful conversation that you're having. So next time, that urge immediately see or respond. There are some people who don't even say excuse me, you just walk away. You're like, okay, well, that's an awkward moment. That is wrong etiquette. Unplug, right? Or if So, decorum, how you sit, how you talk, how much of space you're encroaching, be careful and pay attention to those. So, language, I don't have to say bad language versus good language. Remember, again, in Hindu culture, we say, may Maa Saraswati be in your whatever we say, right? Speak only good things. If you realize that by saying, be conscious is what I'm trying to say. Just because we feel like saying the word, I think the colloquial word that we use is capture, right? Capture. That is wrong etiquette. Remember, act, don't react. Just because you're thinking, ask yourself, will this contribute towards betterment for everybody? Or is this just a bunch of words which I'm just spewing out, which has no value? Right? So, once you're conscious of that, once you tell yourself that I will only speak good things, right? Then you notice miracles that start happening in your life. I'm sounding a little bit like a spiritual guru right now, but that is true. Speak only good things, and then you just see what happens to you. Nobody needs to tell you to have a positive attitude. You won't need me, right? So please remind yourself of that, right? Tip 2, etiquette. Think of others. The easiest thing to do in terms of etiquette is think of others. So when you're sitting in a cinema hall and there's another person sitting next to you, be mindful of whether that person may be uncomfortable with how you're sitting or where you put your bag or whatever. Right? These are simple things. So think of others. And I love this one. I love this one. Always give without remembering. Always give and forget what you did. Don't remember what you did. But nowadays what happens in the Kali, I gave you this, I did this, and what have you done? And then the other person's like, well, I never asked for it. You gave it to me. Forget what you did. Right? But always receive without forgetting. So, forget what you did from the smallest of the bits. Whether that's knowledge, whether that's a physical object, or whether that's money or whatever. Forget. If it's business, it's a different thing. Vyapar, right? It's a different thing. I'm talking about just being able to give. And remember, when someone comes to you for help, don't say, hey, romantically, he always comes and always wants help, No. I just want to give you a little, I'll just derail a little bit here. People come to you for 3 main things. Right? This is just a bonus, something that I just love and I want to share with you. For 3 major things that people come to you. 1 is emotions. They come for emotional support. Right? So once you know this, you're able to identify who is coming for what. Right? So one is Another situation that a person will come to you is abhav. And the third is prabhav. This is just beautiful. This really made me, sit up and take notice and identify who is coming to me for that. Is it bhav? So, am I supposed to give emotional support? I will. Is it abhav? Lack. So, lack of something like financial support, whatever, that's abhav. which is respect, inspiration, prabha, right? So if you just remind yourself of these things, you will be able to navigate life, right? I hope this will be helpful knowledge for you when you leave here. So, always live without remembering, forget what you've given, and always remember what others have given. That is what makes you grateful. Don't forget ever. If anybody has helped you from the smallest to the biggest things, don't forget. You see? So I think that will again help you to have those higher standards. And that's how you become an inspiration to those around you. Right? Next is positivity. Remember I told you only speak good. What good is if you use bad language or say something demeaning about somebody? What does that do? Does it help you grow? Or has that actually brought you down? Right? So be conscious is what I'm trying to tell you. And then when you're positive, what happens is mirroring. So if I'm positive, then I receive positivity. If I'm negative, I receive negativity. So the choice is yours. Right? So remember action versus reaction. Right? So tip 3 to etiquette is do what you say you are going to do. Value your words. Always you've not even left your house. Right? Always go at least halfway. You know, we think that is a normal thing. But have you questioned yourself, is this making me go towards, the opposite direction of self-growth? Or are you going towards self-growth? Be honest with yourself first. Ask yourself these main questions, right? So value yourself, then others will value you, right? So next time you time management, we've already learned, right? But please refrain from these everyday normal comments. That is only bringing you down. That is only stopping your growth. So do what you say you are going to do, right? Or don't say it. Please, right? So tip 4. Stick to the truth. Be truthful. Everybody says this. May I ask you, what do you think is the difference between fact and untruth? What do you think is the difference? Because most people think it's the same. But there is a difference. What is the difference between and satya?
Maybe I'll just cover it there. Where truth is a principle.
Sorry, could you please get out of this?
Fact may be a discovered myth, whereas truth might be the principle behind the myth.
Not really, but I love the answer. Great, thank you so much. Anybody else? Interesting, thank you. Nice. Yes, please.
Fact is based on statistics.
Statistics?
Yeah, statistics.
Yes.
The data.
Yes.
And truth means wherever we go, that's universal, and that's the truth. It's not changing.
Wow. What profound thoughts. Great. Thank you so much. Well, in simple terms, remember I'm here to simplify things. So, facts, facts is 2 plus 2 is 4. Fact. It is going to rain today. Fact. Right? Fine. We just state these facts. What is the difference with satya? Truth is that when you consequences. Satyam Patyam Faram is that. Right? So, be truthful no matter what the consequences. Right? And it may, you may have this dilemma, whether you should speak now or later or whatever. But remember, the moment you choose not to speak the truth, you are depleting your energy. Right? So again, I love to talk about energy because ultimately, the moment we have less energy, we fall ill, isn't it? Our immune system goes for a loss. But if you are in a higher vibration, you have abundance of energy. So when you choose to hide or lie or not speak the truth, even not speaking is lying, isn't it? You know the truth, you're not speaking. You see, but I didn't say anything. No. Right? So please try and stick to the truth, and that is an etiquette that, because in etiquette what happens is the behavior is mirrored. So if you do good, that then spreads. If you do bad, that also spreads. So please be mindful of that. And if you notice, there is a sun rays over here, there's a moon over here. There's a reason why I chose these pictures. Because Buddha had once said, 3 things can never be hidden: the sun, moon, and the truth. Right? So, moving on, the tip 5 for etiquette is be a friend. How to have that genuine relationship? So again, I love this line. Go out looking for friends. You might wind up being alone. But go out looking to be a friend. You will find them everywhere. So are you going out looking for a friend or to be a friend? Stop. Yes. Be a friend. Right? Listen when others are, when your friends are talking. Give genuine attention. Right? Sadly, what's happening is, even between friends, they are comparing, oh, you have this car and I have this car. Everything is so superficial. And I'm sorry to say, but I kind of gets my goat sometimes, because being superficial is kind of being normalized today, and that really scares me. And that is why when I came across soft skills, and I came across this job opportunity, I left my business. I had my own business. I left it all because I realized this is my way, my chance to help today's students and adults to set high standards. Come on, let's not normalize what is superficial, right? And it's time to start. That's why I'm loving to be here, because I am speaking to educators, right? So, be a friend. Bonus tip. This is just something, it's always good to have this in your mind to sort of navigate through life, right? To remind yourself. So, what is the difference between middle class and world class? How can you be world class versus mediocre? Right? How? What are the attributes? Middle class people or mediocre people, please do not look at this as the SSC that way. This is just for the title middle class and world class, just to remember. Mediocre people are generally frustrated, right? Nothing is going as they want, they're always frustrated. Middle class people, mediocre people, are focused on competing. And this is where I want to talk about being Shresth versus being Uttam. Difference. The moment you're only thinking about being Shresth means you're competing with somebody else. And the moment you win that race, you think your job is done, now you're looking for another race in your life. That limits you. That limits you. But if you think of being Uttam, meaning the best that you can do, then you're only just, I just feel I'm not growing, I'm not being challenged, right? Because you have this one life. Explore, do what you were wanting to do. If you wanted to go climb go trekking or do bungee jumping, which I have done, I want to do skydiving as well. Do it. Push yourself. Come out of your comfort zone, right? Be daring. Be inspiring. As educators, we need to be. We don't need to be straight-jacketed all the time. Yes, there are times when you have to be straight-jacketed. There are times when you have to inspire. So start with your own life first. Come out of your comfort zone, right? Push yourself every single day. Make those bucket lists. Because next time when I come visit you, and I will ask the teachers, what did you do something that is out of your comfort zone? And I would want to hear answers. Yes. Okay? Next is focuses on taking, consuming. Remember that negative attitude I told you, snatching away energy? Why? Because you're depleted now, you need to fill, right? So the mediocre people focuses on always taking rather than giving, right? So the moment you have any of these characteristics, please take notice and start changing towards shifting from middle class to world class. Next, mediocre people are problem-oriented. So there are these situations where you're full of life and you come and you ask, how are you? And the other person says, don't ask. This happened, that happened, da 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 da. Right? And complaining. Right? Problems. Why? We all have problems. Perhaps the level of that is different, but for everybody, problems seem big. Right? Nobody needs to compare problems. Right? It's about outdoing, finding solutions. That's how you grow. Imagine if I tell you that tomorrow you will get crores of money, all the comforts that you need to live this short life, right? And you don't have to work any longer. What will happen then? What will happen then? Do you think that was a blessing in disguise or not? Right? So, yes, probably 1 month we will spend all the luxuries that you ever aspired towards having. You spend it, to get the best car, house, whatever, clothes, all of that. And then what? That flat line. So remember, next time when you are faced with challenges and problems, you are forced to come up with solutions. And remember one thing, there are a lot of people who are busy worrying about problems that may or may not happen in the future. And that is how we screw up our present. That is how we snatch away the beauty of the present. But remember one thing, when the problem is born, the solution is also born. So remember, think about the problem only when it comes. Why? Because the solution and the strength that you need to solve that problem will only come then, not now. But most of the times we are spending our present worrying about the future, worrying about the problem that may or may not happen. And that is what's depleting our energy and making us become a negative person. Do you agree? Right? But the moment you tell yourself wisdom is no problem, become solution will also come at that moment, and my strength to deal with that problem will also come then. Let me not worry. Let me make the most of this time that I have now. Value this time. Because like I said, you don't know what will happen tomorrow. Make the most of today. And ask yourself, what legacy are you going to leave behind? These profound questions, please ask yourself. be your own best friend. Next, this is my favorite. The mediocre people think they know it all. They think that they know enough and does not wish to learn more. True wisdom is when you realize that I know that I don't know. And there's always be so much more to learn. That's true wisdom. When you know that there is no ending to learning. But why do we think that way? The moment we, let's say, graduate and get that like soft skills for that matter, you earn a certificate. But that doesn't mean that your learning stops there. Your learning now begins in your real life, where you apply it to your life, right? So, finally, mediocre people choose fear and insecurities. Remember I said, worrying about the future all the time. Now let us talk about world class. How to make a shift, right? Instead of being frustrated, be grateful. Every morning, remind yourself of the smallest things. The fact that you have a roof above your head. The fact that I have everything around you. Aren't you grateful? The fact that you are alive. Stop there. The fact that you're breathing. Stop there. You see? Then, instead of competing, focus on creating. How do you create? How can you become a creator versus someone who just competes? And that starts with having a vision. That starts by thinking of others. That starts by wanting to contribute, participate, and make this life count. Right? Then you feel that energy within you to create. Next, comfortable being uncomfortable. Remember, the misconception that we have, comforts, luxury. Don't fall for that fact. Don't fall for, yes, I'm not saying that your basic needs, amenities, of course, but then we go obsessing over, alright, I've got a car which takes me from point A to point B, but now I don't like my car, I want a better car that takes me from point A to B. So then what happens? Your focus is on something again superficial versus something which helps you to grow, self-improvement. Be inspirational to others. First start by being inspirational to yourself. When you look at yourself in the mirror, pat yourself on the back. Do you feel that? That will only come when you are striving every single day. Ask yourself every single day, what have I learned? Right? So that makes you a thinking individual, not somebody who's like, okay, I finished my work now, I'm go have beer with my friends, and then that's it, and repeat. Right? Next. Focuses on taking was the mediocre person. Taking versus focuses on being. You are unique. Please understand that when you focus on being, you are focused on being the best you can be, right? So understand self-awareness. A lot of us, sadly, are living our life based on what others have told us is supposed happiness. Oh, you have this house, you get married, blah, 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 this makes you happy. And you do that. And you realize there's something always missing. Why? Why? Right? So, remember self-awareness, focus on being, right? And find your strengths, be aware of your weaknesses. And when you find your strengths, then take that strength and use it to help everyone around you. And remember again, when next time somebody comes to you for help, always say yes, because that's your opportunity to become stronger, to become more abundant. Solution-oriented. No complainers can become world class. Problems, like I said, will always be there. But are you problem-focused or solution-focused? So the moment you become solution-focused, you are world class. Eager to learn. Right? But first, to be eager, you need to know that you don't do. And the more you know you don't do. Think about it. The more you know that you don't. Yes or no? If Creator had created such an easily understood universe, then would we value it? There's mystery everywhere, so much to know, and that is what makes us makes our life worth living, right? So the more you know you don't know. So that makes you humble, not proud. Oh, you know the pedestal, being on a pedestal and looking down on somebody. No, never be that, because there's always something you can learn from somebody who you thought doesn't know anything, right? You don't know from where you can learn what. Be open to that experience. That is what makes you world class and inspirational. And finally, you choose growth versus fear, right? That's why I ask yourself, am I growing? Am I growing or okay, now I have my free time, now I will go, I will numb myself by just looking at Facebook and like, and then just then tiring yourself and going to sleep. No, catch yourself. Don't do that. I'm not saying don't spend your time on leisure activities. Do that, but be conscious of how much time you want to put forward. Right? So next time when you are, please remind yourself that you're being brain dead when you do it. Right? Or rather, are you stalking somebody? Are you just wanting to know what others are up to? Remember, everything is a lie. Please understand what you see on social media is more often than not is a lie, as in, okay, that may be too harsh for me to say that, but then that's not the truth, would be the right way to put it. So don't be so naive to be affected by it, right? So, do you want to be middle class or world class?
World class.
World class. And this is how you make the shift. And how do you make the shift? By being conscious. Catch yourself. Nobody else needs to catch you. Catch yourself, please. Right? I want to say quickly about netiquette. We're finished with appearance netiquette. But netiquette, remember, netiquette is an extension of you in a virtual world. I already touched on the fact that you need to be conscious about how you are on the internet. How you behave matters, right? So, basic thumb rule. Again, if I had to do a session on etiquette, it would probably take another, I don't know how many hours, but just basic thumb rule, please, for you to remember. Behave online as you would offline. Simple. Behave online as you would offline. Just because you're behind a screen and you type keyboard warriors, right? You can type whatever you want. This is something that is very important. I'm sure you're teaching your students about, bullying and all of that. It's very important to know that that is becoming, whether we like it or not, a real world out there. Right? So behave online as you would offline. Respect other people's time. What do I mean by this? This is about cheating or emailing. Just because you got the time at 12 o'clock at midnight to write that email and you send it off at 12 o'clock at midnight, that is wrong. Respect other people's time. After office hours, refrain from sending emails. That is why, how many of you know that in Gmail you can schedule send your email? Right? Schedule. So right next to send, there is an arrow. There you can select the date and time that you want that email to go. Right? So you got a chance to write the email at 12 o'clock, but schedule send at 10 o'clock tomorrow office time. Respect mistake that we make in terms of etiquette or lack of etiquette is we just reply all very casually. So somebody started an email, but there's everybody there. But then what starts happening is there are two people who start having more closer interaction, but that interaction is sent to everybody. So it's always reply all. No. When there is a group mail, fine, that's been announced. But if there are closer interaction taking place between two people, then only reply to that person. Or rather, it would be better if you decide in advance, right, who will be privy to that conversation, right? Don't just add emails over there, CC, BCC, all of that. That's also a very important metric that we need to pay attention on while we're working. Respect the rules of the platform you're using. Facebook versus LinkedIn. If you start using LinkedIn as Facebook and Facebook as LinkedIn, is that wrong or right? Wrong. Facebook is meant for friends and family, right? Instagram for friends, not for family. That's why a lot of youngsters are choosing to have Instagram. So friends and family, the family can't see what they're up to. So they have their own Instagram account. But then Facebook is generally what we use, and LinkedIn is what we use for professional networking, right? So next time if you choose to put an image of you with your friends having beer on LinkedIn, that is wrong. So please take the time to read about what that platform is intended for. And then when you start using it in the correct way, then you start feeling the joy of it, right? So please respect the rules of the platform you're using. Read about it. It's all there. Finally, video conferencing. I know all of you during COVID were forced, all of us were forced to use Zoom and all sorts of video conferencing. But what are the basic rules for video conferencing? I want to hear from our teachers here present. What is the number one rule of while using Zoom or video conferencing? Anybody, please?
Mute yourself.
Sorry?
Mute yourself.
Correct. Mute yourself when you're not speaking. Right? Another? Correct. Proper attire. Lovely. Yes. Proper attire. Raise your hand because the host will then let you in. Raise your hand. Don't speak over somebody. Right? Anything else in your own experience that you want to raise?
Using genuine ID.
Sorry?
Using genuine ID.
Using?
Genuine name or ID.
Oh, genuine name and ID. Oh, great. Yes. Nice. Anything else?
Using chat box for questionnaire.
Nice, correct. There's a separate question and answer thing. Yes, so you know it all, right? Video conferencing. So please, and remember that while it's evolving, there are a lot of other features that are being added. So take the time, at least once a month or once in 2 months, right? Take the time to just explore and find out where the new features have been added, right? That's something that we don't normally do, but I highly advise that you do. Okay? So that brings me to the end of appearance, etiquette, and etiquette. And we move on to work ethic, and after work ethic, the last topic is leadership. So, work ethic. What is work ethic? Anybody? Okay, it's already here, so let me just read it. Okay? So, work ethic is the way you feel about the importance of work. Feel. Right? How you feel about the importance of the job you're doing currently, or the work that you're doing. If you feel positive about work, enjoy working, and even love your work, you have a great work ethic. So to have a great work ethic, what is the become new, you need to love what you're doing. Right? Only then are you self-motivated to work and to outperform yourself. Right? So, work ethic is about feeling, remember emotions. How do you, so what are the tips, if I have to give you just quick tips for today, how to maintain a good work ethic is, tip number one, be present. Meaning when you come to work, you are present, you're responsive and you're responsible. Right? That is the first thing, be present. Tip two, be positive. That's how you're able to be helpful, cooperative, compassionate, caring, and understanding. Right? So these are few tips that can help you enjoy your work. And you know, we all have heard of the term job satisfaction. But I like to think of it as job happiness. I think the time has come that we look at job happiness instead of just being satisfied. Tip 3 is be ready. Do your homework, organize and prepare. Again, we're educators, I don't need to tell you this, but reminding you, be ready all the time. Be productive. How to be productive? Set targets and stick to them. And I'm sure you all have heard of SMART goal settings, right? SMART, so S stands for make sure that your goals are specific. N, make sure your goals are measurable, right? A, make sure your goals are achievable. R, make sure your goals are realistic. And T is, make sure your goals are time-based. That way you set realistic targets and you're not feeling, oh my God, I was able to, achieve my goals. Perhaps that's because you're not setting realistic targets and time-based targets, right? So next time, be mindful of that. Tip 5, be thorough. And the best example is cleaning, right? So if I tell you that this hall, if this needs to be cleaned, am I right when I say that this hall can be cleaned in 10 minutes? Time? It can also be cleaned in 30 minutes, or it can take the whole day, right? What is the difference? It's about whether the job was done in a thorough manner or not. So most of the people sweep around the carpet. How many of us lift the carpet and sweep underneath it? Right? So thorough. So again, remember you have to set high standards for yourself, be thorough, complete everything, review and double check. Right? Tip 6, be proud about what you're doing. Remember, because we have the job, we may take things for granted. That happens to everybody. Remind yourself the joy, the ability, how your job has given you the ability to discover about yourself every single day, to be able to contribute, right? So be proud about what you're doing, right? If you don't feel proud, then question whether you're in the right job or not, right? But it's crucial, whether you find another job or whether you find in your own job, you're able to be proud. That is what will help you to become the best version of yourself, right? Then, be outstanding. Outwork, outdo, outperform, outlast. That is putting your muscles, you're giving your all. No pain, no gain, right? So, there is this person who I came across. He was so loyalty we need to have. And finally, our last soft skills for today that I want to talk about, very important, is leadership. Leaders are not born but made. Please understand that it is a myth that leaders are born. Leadership skills can be taught, can be learned, can be mastered. So remember, we all have leaders within us, right? A leader is effective because of who he, she is on the inside and how those qualities are reflected on the outside. There's only so much that one can fake, right? Ultimately, you will be caught. If you don't have those qualities within you, you will not be expressive on the outside. So, leadership skills are taught, can be learned and mastered. So, this is an interesting survey that was conducted where random people were asked, why do people want to be leaders? Just generally, the survey was conducted and very interesting answers. So people said, for the glory, people want to be leaders. To get respect, people want to be leaders. For the prestige, as a duty. For the challenge, for the power. To get recognized, to take control, for self-fulfillment, and of course, for the money. Now, big L is all about, leadership with a big capital L is all about power and control. About yourself, you, me. It's all about me, right? But I am here to talk about the leadership with a little L. So what's the difference? Little L, leaders, has my best interest in mind, helps me through the rough spots, committed to a goal, open and caring, open-minded, knows my unique abilities, challenges me, keeps my spirit up, keeps me on track, knows what he or she is doing, has confidence in me, supportive, gives me time, and is confident. So, true leadership are those, true leaders are those who are able to bring out the leaders in others, not create followers, not yes men, yes sir, no sir, whatever, so not yes men, not create those yes men, but think about others, that is true leadership. So, finally, leadership legacy is what? It's about what you're remembered for even after you're gone. Right? That's the legacy. So my question to you today is, what legacy are you going to leave? And with this, I come to an end of all 6 soft skills for today. So thank you very much for being such lovely listeners. I hope you were able to, this session was rather more like a self-reflection, right? And I want to now quickly just bring your attention to the company that I work for in the US, Soft Skills AHA. So, our company is dedicated towards creating online programs to empower students and young adults with soft skills. What does that mean? That we believe that, remember I told you, education is incomplete without soft skills. And the sooner our children learn about soft skills at the school level, the better they will be performing in life, right? So, currently 3 programs. Soft Skills Middle is for middle school students, grade 6, 7, and 8. This is where we introduce children to the foundation of soft skills. And what are the foundational modules of soft skills? Self-awareness, social awareness, teamwork, honesty, responsibility, communication, and so on and so forth. So we have 8 modules that creates that foundation for middle school students. So, and not just that, our program also has career exploration. What we believe is that the students, middle school students, need to be encouraged to dream big. They have to start, this notion that thinking about careers only later. Yes, fine, I agree, but career exploration must start at the middle school level, right? So, what we in our program, what we have done is that we introduce the students to 16 career clusters. So, if anybody asks you, in the world, how many career clusters are there, under which all the jobs are, the answer is 16. So imagine our students are already exploring about all the career clusters that are out there, understanding what the main basic things that's there. So the whole idea being that we don't want our students to be intimidated by work. We want them to be excited, right? To dream big. So, soft skills middle, soft skills high is for high school students, grades 9, 10, 11, and 12. This is where we build on the foundation of soft skills with the 10 essential soft skills that I spoke of earlier. And what this does is, it helps to bridge the gap between the classroom and career. So again, there are soft skills, people skills that students get to learn and master, and then they also get to learn about the career clusters, and then they are ready. By the time they cross the bridge from the world of academia to the world of work, they are ready. They're not scared. They're excited for that first year of work, right? And finally, there is Soft Skills Pro, which is for professionals. This is all an online American certificate program. And the good news is this, that just a week ago, our teacher professional development program was made ready. So we have 2 programs under Soft Skills Pro. One is for those who are not teachers, who are working in all capacities in the world of work, and another is Teacher PD, which is for the teachers. So I really hope that you as educators, you will consider mastering your soft skills. Because before you are able to teach people skills, soft skills, these values to the students, you need to be well versed yourself. So I am proud to introduce you to our Soft Skills Pro Teacher PD, the first soft skills professional development course designed for educators. And the classroom and life essential skills that you will get to master and earn an American certificate is attitude, character, interpersonal communication, diversity and cultural awareness, appearance and etiquette, time management skills, teamwork, work ethic, critical thinking, and leadership skills. So, the details will be shared with our principal, sir, and I really hope that you as educators will enroll, and this program is very cost effective. So all the details I will be sharing with our principal, sir. If you're interested, please feel free to reach out to me, and I will give you more detail about this. And this brings me to the end of our session.